I'm staring at a text message right now that says, pizza party in Steve's room. That Steve would be Steve Ritchie. So I'm faced with a conundrum. Do I drive back about a half a mile to the Sheraton at the Midwest Gaming Classic and go have a pizza party in Steve Ritchie's hotel room? Or do I record episode 76 of Coast to Coast Pinball and make sure it gets done tonight? Let's go. Thanks for listening. Coast to Coast Pinball, episode number 76. My name is Nate Shivers. This is a podcast commentary. I'm a man out of quarters, and you need no quarters at the Midwest Gaming Classic. Day 1 of 2 is in the books, if we don't count Friday, which is sort of the pre-show. I'm worn out, and I did not go back to the Sheraton as they graciously invited me to a pizza party in Steve Ritchie's room. I had a long day. I'm worn out. Man, I had a fun day. You know, the Midwest Gaming Classic is this crazy hybrid event with all these console games everywhere. You know, you walk through the hallways, there's console games set up with TVs. You go downstairs in the basement, there's meeting rooms with console games. There's hotel rooms converted into console games. There's arcade games in rooms. There's memorabilia. There's a giant tent out back with vendors selling tons of, like, you know, Neo Geo and Famicom cartridges, Nintendo games, Nintendo memorabilia, all this stuff. Some pinball stuff out there too, not as much. Then there's the main sort of game room, the live arcade room. And in that arcade, there's a whole lot of pinball machines and a whole lot of arcade machines. All day I kept meaning to count how many pinball machines were in that room and how many arcade games, so I could give you a good number, but I totally forgot to do that. So I will do that tomorrow, Sunday. Today was busy. I was asked to come to the Midwest Gaming Classic by Mark, who's one of the organizers of the event, and he asked me if I would be willing to be a part of it, and he thought he would have me come and moderate a panel, which I'm doing tomorrow, and the panel is going to consist of, let me see if I got this whole list right. It's Steve Ritchie, John Papaduke, Greg Ferris, John Trudeau, Charlie Emery, Ben Heck, Kevin Kulik from Skippy Pinball, and I might be missing one or two others. But that's like a heavy-hitting pinball panel, and the panel is entitled The State of the Silver Ball. And we're going to talk about what the people who design the games think about pinball, and what they think about current happenings, current trends, and possibly the future. So I'm very excited. I've been prepping for that because I don't want to look like a fool in front of all these sort of legendary and someday legendary pinball designers. So very excited. However, Mark also asked me a couple days ago if I'd be willing to help them out and moderate a question and answer with Jeff Lee and Howie Rubens, formerly of Gottlieb, but Gottlieb Video Games. Specifically, Jeff Lee designed, was the original creator of Q*bert. And I instantly said, yes, sure, of course. In the back of my head going, I don't know anything about Q*bert. I'm in trouble. But Mark sent me lots of links to some great reading material. I Googled and searched and actually went downstairs this morning at the Midwest Gaming Classic and played a bunch of Q*bert so that when 2 o'clock rolled around and these very nice gentlemen, Jeff and Howie, got up in front of this crowd, we would be able to look like we knew what we were doing. And I think it went very well. I gotta say, a lot of people came and watched the discussion with Jeff and Howie. You know, I didn't know what that was going to be like. 'Cause like back at Texas, I remember being in the panel room with like Roger Sharp, and there's only like 30 or 40 people in there. And I thought, man, there should be more people in here. Well, there was at least 50 people watching the Q*bert question and answer today, and it was pretty awesome. So that was fun. I was glad I could be a help because they were gracious enough to invite me and have me out to the Midwest Gaming Classic, and I've got a badge that says VIP on it, and it was the least I could do was sort of step outside my comfort zone a little bit. So that was a lot of fun. So what did I do and see today? So yesterday, you guys know I spent some time around the spooky games and posted a video last night of some gameplay on Pinball Zombies from Beyond the Grave, which was sort of a surprise and created quite a buzz that Charlie at Spooky Pinball brought that game. And been watching the threads on Pinside about that, and there seems to be sort of a divide going on. There seems to be half the people are excited and think it looks cool, can't wait to see it and play it, and then there's some people who are not impressed by either the artwork or maybe some of the gameplay. I actually feel a little guilty about the video I posted, because I think the gameplay was really poor in the video I posted. It wasn't me playing. It was just somebody who walked up and played their very first game. And if you go and play games from other eras or games designed very differently, like, for instance, the first time I ever played even a game as recent as X-Men, which is really just a modified fan layout, I didn't score any points at all because it was just different and weird. The first time you played Avengers, did you score well or play well or have long ball times? No. So whoever I videotaped, and I actually don't have any idea who it was I videotaped playing Pinball Zombies from Beyond the Grave, had really short ball times because that game is different. It is an interesting layout. It's a very wide open layout. There's not a lot going on in the middle of the game, but that's because the main theme, I think, of the gameplay and the game field is the unique geometry between the 4 slingshots and the 3 spread pop bumpers. And it's interesting. It's different. And you have to sort of learn where the ball is going to go coming out of certain areas of that game, because it doesn't go where you think it's going to go. It's not like anything you've played, really. So to those of you who wrote me and or commented on the video and said, wow, those ball times are short, that game wouldn't be very fun, you need to just settle down, slow down. Also, without code really in that game, because literally Charlie will tell you in this interview we're going to have tonight on Coast to Coast Pinball with Charlie Emery, who was gracious enough to spend some time in his busy day talking with me on my podcast. This is a guy who has a podcast that's been on much longer than mine, but he spent some time with us. He'll tell you that they didn't have code in this game 2 days ago. It was just a game that physically flipped and you could shoot the shots. But there's no code, and there's still very little. There's a few things in there, but there's very little. And when there's not a lot of code and not a lot of sort of response from the DMD and the game telling you what you did is good, bad, or do this, do that, it's hard to really get into the theme. So really what they brought is a working prototype game that you can flip and hit the shots with some very limited feedback on the DMD. And I gotta say, I really like it. I do think there are a few spots on the game that could use a little extra artwork. I think the upper play field, the graveyard could use just some more going on. I think Charlie did already say there's another toy going in up there. But even the upper play field, I think it's one of the better playing mini type play fields on a game. I would put it right up there with the AC/DC Underworld, where you actually feel like you're doing something. I think Wizard of Oz is pretty good. I think this is right there with it. This has 3 rollover targets, like 3 laned rollover targets that you can spell DOA. It's cool, and it's something you can sort of strive to achieve, and you get up there, and it doesn't feel quite so random and like you're just flipping for your life. It's not quite so just luck-based. It's cool. I like it. I think the layout's pretty genius. I think the artwork is going to be a lot of just preference, whether or not you like it. The overall package, I think, is very good, with the infinity lights in the back glass, a la Space Invaders, a la Black Hole. I think it's a great package. I think that it's probably way too early to make any sort of decision on whether or not you would buy this game or be interested in putting this game out on location, or even what you really feel about this game. But I think remember, Charlie is a huge pinball fan, I think, first. And do you know how exciting it's got to be to dream up a game, quit your job, go into production, and actually design, build, and put together a game and get this far, and then have this pinball show or a gaming show that has a heavy emphasis on pinball in your home state, not very far from where you live? Of course you want to bring it out and show it off. Of course you do. That's human nature. I certainly would. Man, I'm spontaneous like that in spades. I would do that any day. However, I will say this. A little commentary on this. From a business standpoint, they're launching 2 games sort of concurrently. America's Most Haunted, Ben Heck's game, which we will talk about, and I have a video that I'm putting together that will go up tonight on the Coast to Coast Pinball YouTube page, which is sort of a work in progress itself. America's Most Haunted is pretty much finished. And, Ben sort of downplays it. And talking to Ben actually frustrates the heck out of me. The heck out of me. Do you get it? See what I did there? Because I'm like looking at this game and playing this game going, dude, this game's great. It's got awesome shots. It's got unique animations. And when I say animations, I don't mean just the game, the DMD, but I mean the ghost on the game moving around. It's got a unique non-licensed theme that everybody and their mother wants. And there we have it, an unlicensed theme. It's got a great back glass now. After all the flack that he took over the art and the back glass looks killer. And this game's awesome. And Ben's kind of like, yeah, okay, I'd love to sell 100 of them. That'd be nice. I want to shake him and be like, dude, market this thing. Sell this thing. And looking at Spooky Pinball as a whole, I'm so business-minded. You know what I do every day? I'll tell you what I do every day for work. I look at a territory of the United States that has millions and millions of people in it, that has about 45 dealerships in it, that does about, well, I can't throw these numbers out, I might get in trouble, but does millions and millions of dollars in business in my world, acoustic guitars. And I look at that, and I'm constantly looking at it from a business point of view on where is the best place to distribute my guitars? Who are the best partners to deal with? Who is going to represent my product the best? Who's going to sell the most of my product? Who's going to sell the most of my product while keeping the value of my product high and not just like, selling it cheap just to get rid of it? I look at all that stuff, and so I look at these two games, and I can't help but want to say to Charlie, like, dude, like, what's the plan on selling them? And I kind of said that to him today, and to his credit, he had a very humble answer. He's so humble about the whole thing. I heard him say it today at the end of the Spooky Pinball costume play contest. We're just a small pinball company, blah blah blah. Dude, Charlie, America's Most Haunted's a great game, and it's like done. Sell it, because if you can sell 100 of those at $5,900 or $6,000 or whatever, influx of cash can get you where you want to be for the next game, the next game, the next game. I just wonder if doing two games sort of concurrently, and I don't blame them because I understand why and how, but I wonder if doing two games concurrently and showing them off and releasing them sort of concurrently, because, they go to all the shows with the games, they see the games, they're sick of the games. Ben said it to me yesterday. God, I'm sick of looking at this game. But the people listening to Coast to Coast Pinball tonight are not sick of looking at this game. The people in all these Pinside threads are not sick of looking at this game. The emails I'm getting that are from serious people who own lots of games saying, hey man, I'm not going to have a chance to play America's Most Haunted or Pinball Zombies from Beyond the Grave. Can you please play it and give me a really detailed review because I may just buy one? They're not sick of looking at this game. So Charlie and Ben really need that sort of marketing sales pitch in what they're doing, because this industry will support more games right now. I mean, we're selling all these Medieval Madness. Stern's on a hot streak. Skip B sold all their 250 Predators. I think that 100 America's Most Haunted should be simple, because I'm here to tell you it's a good game. I like it a lot. I played a 3-player game with a couple different listeners of the show tonight. One, I did not get his name, but he actually listened to the whole Hubert forum, which blew my mind because he's more of a pinball guy. Real nice guy. And then I listened to the self-proclaimed only female fan of Coast to Coast Pinball, Lacey, who actually just moved up to this area from Orlando, so shout out to Lacey. We played a 3-player game, and it's just a lot of fun. The rules are deep. The animations are great. The call-outs are freaking hilarious. So there's 3 skill shots on America's Most Haunted, and one of them is a harder skill shot into the pop bumpers. Then there's the rollover lane skill shots where you light the orb lights, which have just amazing sound effects. And then there's the kind of the one that you don't know that's there is sort of the soft plunge where you dribble it over the first like kind of bend in the shooter lane into the skill shot part. And if you soft plunge too soft and the ball keeps going back down to the shooter rod, the game makes fun of you. It's really hilarious. One of the call-outs was, well, that's one way to extend your ball time, because that's Ben Heck. Ben Heck did all of this game. Art, call-outs, design, it's amazing. This game is really amazing. I read a post on Pinside tonight that I wanted to reach through the computer and strangle this guy. I try and stay so open-minded with Pinside because I know it's the internet and you can't get upset about the internet. And everybody's got an opinion and it gives a voice to the voiceless and some people got to feel important. But I read a comment somewhere along the lines of, I don't like this art. Boo, boo, boo. You should get someone else to do the art. Everyone and their mom's trying to make a pinball machine. Blah, 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 blah. Total hater post. Dude, let me tell you, I play a lot of pinball. I see a lot of pinball machines. These two spooky games are the real deal. America's Most Haunted is there. That game's great. That is a fun, awesome game that you could add to your house and have something A, very rare, possibly part of pinball history, and B, just kind of a deep home type game with a cool original theme. So whoever that Pinside guy was, just boo on you. So it's not all about spooky pinball. I'm sorry if I'm going off on it, but they clearly have sort of, I think, taken a lot of the focus. But just to the right of the spooky pinball booth at the Midwest Gaming Classic, there's a gentleman by the name of John Papaduke with a booth, his Zidware company. And I've spent some time on and off talking with John over the last couple days. And I had been told by someone about a week ago that let me know John was coming. And I had mentioned to someone else, a third person, that, yeah, John Papaduke's going to be there. I'd love to get him on the show. And this person said to me, yeah, I heard that he doesn't really like doing podcasts and that he had done another show and it was sort of like pulling teeth. And I thought, well, okay, I'll feel it out and I won't push it. And then I was talking to Charlie, and Charlie said, oh man, John's so great, but doesn't really love doing the podcast. It was hard for me to get him on the show. And so I stepped with caution when I talked to John. And if you heard last episode 75, John came right out at the bar and said, I heard about you. And very flattering. He's very nice. John is, let me see what he called himself today. This is out of his mouth, not mine. I think he called himself a nutcase to me today. Like, we were talking about something, and he goes, well, I'm a nutcase, or something to that effect. And I would not go as far to call John Papaduke, on the brief interactions I've had with him, a nutcase. But I would definitely say that you can tell this is a very smart guy, a very creative guy. And maybe some dude with a microphone in his face, catching every word he says, and every potential thing that he doesn't want to say in the moment, might not be ideal for him. So I totally get that. So I came by and he immediately says, Nate, how you doing? Sit down. Just like that. Just as if we'd known each other for years. So I sat down. And we talked about what he brought to the Midwest Gaming Classic, which has been a pretty big buzz at the show. He brought a new KISS pinball machine. You know, there's been people talking about the rock and roll themes and the success Stern's had, and maybe Stern will do Iron Maiden, or maybe they'll do another KISS game. Well, John Papaduke just kind of shows up with a KISS game. And it looks amazing. John Papaduke's art and his vision of what art can be is really special. It's fantastic. I mean, go to his website. This is not just, your average run-of-the-mill hand-drawn art. This is really high-level stuff that John turns out. So he mixes that sort of thing you might see on his zombie game, the formerly Ben Heck zombie, I forget the radioactive zombie Adventureland game and the Magic Girl game, that vibe with KISS. And he brings this game and kind of surprises everybody, so everyone's just running over to it. It's lit beautifully, has a lot of stuff going on. First of all, the game's made out of foam core. It's literally made out of foam. The cabinet is made out of hard foam core. So as I walked up to it, he warned me, don't lean on it, you'll crush it. So it's on real pinball legs, but the whole thing in the playfield is made out of foam core. Now it has lighting all over it. It has, pop bumpers on it. It has flippers on it, but nothing actually moves and works. It has a shooter lane, the whole deal. But it's really art on foam core with a layout of pinball parts around it. It's a concept game. And he did not tell me this directly, but I heard this third hand that he had a friend who's not well, and when I say not well, I mean like terminally not well, who loved KISS, and I think this was sort of inspired for that gentleman. And I asked John, I said, are you a KISS fan? And he said, oh yeah, I used to play drums in a KISS cover band. And he is designing this game and prototyping this game because he would like to get the license to build a KISS pinball machine. And I have some personal experience in the music industry with Gene Simmons and KISS from my former company. And how do I put this? I want to briefly tell this story. Quickly, my former company, not Taylor Guitars, but another company I worked for, wanted to build the axe bass that Gene Simmons often plays. And he's had different companies build that over the years. And I worked for a company who wanted to build it. So the owner and the CFO of my former company went to Gene's house in Los Angeles to pitch him a project plan on building the axe bass. And long story short, left in disgust because Gene is very difficult to deal with and really just wants to know how much money is in it for him. So I have fear that John and Zidware may run into some tough times ahead striking a deal with KISS and with Gene Simmons, but I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that he gets this license and nails it down. John was showing me some parts of this game that he actually has patented. They've won patents for, been awarded patents. There's a truss lighting system on this game that runs down both sides. It's sort of like trusses you would see on a concert stage, like metal, poles that hold up lighting. And he has these, you'll see in the video I post, and I really wish I had thought to activate the lights because you could hold the targets down. And I had a really great moment while I was looking at the game and taking the video. Steve Ritchie walked into the booth and was looking at it. And John was telling Steve, oh, it's just foam, don't lean on it, can't play it. And Steve was just scouring over it, looking at it and just couldn't believe how beautiful it was. And John said, hold the targets down. And Steve doesn't hear real well. Steve wears, hearing aids. So, we were trying to relay the message to Steve, and Steve kept touching the target. And John's like, no, hold the target down. So Steve finally got what he was saying and held the target down. And the lights on these trusses that look like flashers in the video, there's 6 of them, they're not flashers, they're spinners. The LEDs actually spin in circles inside the caps, the light cap. It's really cool. I've never seen it before. So those trusses, I believe, are patented. He has this giant LCD, like a large size LCD screen, down in the game, a la Circus Voltaire. And I said to him, it's amazing to me that nobody's done that since Circus Voltaire. And he agreed. He said, yeah. And he mentioned that John Trudeau was really the first one to do that on a game that never was completed because John, parted ways with Williams before they could complete the game. But he'd done it with Circus Voltaire, and he has the LCD down in there for KISS. And boy, just so cool. Looks awesome. Can't wait to see Magic Girl once it's up and going, and Radioactive Zombie Adventureland. I'm really excited. I think John Papaduke just is pretty brilliant. I wonder if John Papaduke can build enough games to have a lasting, impression on more than just a few dozen people. That's, I guess, my question. His games, I asked him, how much would a Magic Girl cost me? And he told me $16,000. It's a lot of money. And he knows that's a lot of money. But he said that he's making games that are much more solid, all quality parts. And I asked him, I said, yeah, it's interesting because older games were built to go on route and last a set amount of time. And he said, exactly. He said, I'm building something that will really, really last, and you'll feel it, and I will show the people that buy my games how well it's constructed. So, and he also said they were conscious of the price, and they were looking at ways to maybe get the price down. Didn't give me firm timelines, and I've had a few people ask me already, like, oh, when might I see a Magic Girl? When might I see a Raza, as we call the zombie game? He did not delve too deep into that. And a lot of what John and I talked about, I'm afraid I don't know for sure if it was on or off the record. There was some stuff that I know was definitely off the record, so I don't want to confuse anything, and I do not want to upset someone who was so generous with his time and his information with me today. So I will clarify some of that, hopefully, with John tomorrow. Not sure if he's going to come on the show and do a little interview or not. We'll try. It'd be nice. But if not, I want to get some audio from the forum that I'll be moderating tomorrow, the State of the Silver Ball, which John will be a part of. I saw John go and play the spooky games. He seemed very excited about them. I watched John Trudeau go and play the spooky games. I watched Steve Ritchie play the spooky games. I have photos of that. It's pretty cool seeing Charlie standing there with Steve Ritchie and standing there with John Trudeau playing his games. It's you can tell it's like a proud parent. So a lot of fun stuff going on there. Skit B was there with Predator. So at the Texas Pinball Festival a couple weeks ago, I was looking at Predator. I played it a few times, And I like a lot of what's going on with the rule set and the gameplay and the design and the code. And there was something about, I don't know if it was the pitch of the game or the rubbers up towards the top where it, funnels down into the pop bumpers or what it was. The game didn't really flow that great when I personally was playing it. And, what am I going to complain? The game's already sold. They can only make 250 and they're all sold. So I was talking with someone today who actually I want to have on the show tomorrow. And I'm sorry that I'm blanking on your name at this point. I've met so many people. But this is someone who buys a lot of games. And he would list off some of the games he owns. He owns a lot of games. And he's on the list for Predator. He's on the list for Pinball Zombies from Beyond the Grave. He's on the list for Hobbit. This is someone who buys a lot of games. And he goes to shows. He's one of the people putting a lot of his personal money into the hobby. And he played Predator for the first time today and got to really go through it. And then I watched some people, and I said, what did you think? And he goes, I love it. I really like it. It plays great. It's what I wanted. The shots play great. The flow plays great. The code is awesome. And then I played it, and I watched people play it. Predator played really good today. It played really good. It's fast. The game's hard. And Skit B, I think, has really sort of had some rough times. I know Louisville was not a good show for them. They had some mechanical problems and technical problems. But I think they got a pretty good game on their hands. And now they just got to build them and then move on to the next game. So there's a lot of buzz going around on Skip B because the game is holding up. It's playing well. People that are on the list are now playing it and seem to be liking it. And Skip B is probably going to announce a second game a little later this year at California Extreme. So it was good to see that. I played some other stuff. I played a Mystery Castle, Alvin G's Mystery Castle today. It's a game that I love the back glass. More than anything, I love that back glass. I actually really liked the game. It's not a top 10 game to me or anything like that. It's really cool. It's quirky. I like it for what it is. It's rare, but it's not a game that, it's rare in the sense like Big Bang Bar where it's rare and, oh my gosh, I would kill someone to have this game. It's a game that I think is pretty cool. I liked it a lot. I enjoyed playing it. It's the kind of thing that I'll never own, so I was just trying to appreciate it for what it was. A really cool theme with an interesting layout, some really interesting shots. So I like that a lot. I played Baywatch for the first time ever. And people always say how great Baywatch is, but the theme's bad. That's exactly true. It's exactly true. The game is really good. And the version of Baywatch there was in pretty rough shape. The DMD wasn't working. It was spitting out two balls often and confusing the game. The upper flipper, I think one of the upper flippers was not doing so hot. A lot of shots, a lot of stuff going on. If that had been a different theme, if that had been Jaws, and I just say that because there's shark shots in Baywatch, they'd have sold a lot more. So Baywatch, cool game. That's definitely, that goes on my list when people say to me, what's a good game where I want a whole lot of bang for my buck? Baywatch, definitely. Played a lot of other stuff. I'll probably recap more of it tomorrow as we go. I'm very excited to get to this interview with Charlie from Spooky Pinball. It was really fun sitting down and kind of talking serious with Charlie about his game and getting his thoughts on some of the stuff. So I am absolutely very bullish on Spooky Pinball right now. I think they have a very bright future in this hobby and industry. And I think in a few years we're going to be looking back and thinking how crazy these early days were when they were struggling to get these first games up and running at shows and whatnot. So I'm excited. So now you will jump to the floor of the Midwest Gaming Classic and hear Charlie Emery and myself talking Spooky Pinball. All right, we're here at the Midwest Gaming Classic. I'm in the Spooky Pinball LLC booth with Charlie from Spooky Pinball. How are you, sir?
Hi, Nate. It's good to be finally coast to coast with you.
Well, we're sort of in the middle. We're in the flyover states, as you might call them.
Hey, don't fly over Wisconsin, man. You got to stay. This is where the action is.
Well, it is. It's very true. And I'm in Southern California where there is no action, and sometimes in New York where there is some action.
I hear it never rains in Southern California.
That is partially true. That is partially true. It was 95 degrees yesterday, or 2 days ago in Southern California.
Right. Yeah, it was like 65 and sunny yesterday, so yeah, I'm in shorts and a t-shirt now.
It's going to snow tomorrow here.
Possibly.
Possibly. So you surprised everybody a little bit. We've not only have America's Most Haunted here in your booth, we also have the next game, Pinball Zombies from Beyond the Grave.
Yes, we do. And the last month of my life has been hell. But it was worth it.
So let's talk about America's Most Haunted first, since that game is currently now in production, right? You're building games to ship.
Yes, sir. Actually, our first game is going to ship this week. So by the time your listeners hear that, we'll have a game in somebody's house.
We talked to Ben a little bit yesterday, and he said the code is probably like 80%-ish, somewhere in that range.
I like to tell him it's 95%.
90%? Okay, just a couple of things.
That doesn't mean that's the reality.
He's a bit of a mad scientist there.
Yes, he is, and I keep telling him the game doesn't quite need to be Lord of the Rings deep. I'm already never ever going to see the wizard mode in Ben's game. So yeah, but no, it's very good. Ben's done an amazing job on that damn game. Holy cow, is he busted his butt?
Yeah, I gotta say, it plays great. I played it a bunch because I want to try and get a feel for it. It feels very finished. This is not any longer, to me, a boutique project. This is a production pinball game.
Well, thanks, and that's, honestly, the goal for us is to make games as good as everybody else does. And, we, technology-wise, are not going to put out something like The Wizard of Oz for under $18 million in a company our size. We can't buy 1,000 Transformers or anything like, Stern or Jack can do. So our goal is just to make the best possible games we can, make them absolute production quality like everybody is, used to seeing from a small manufacturing standpoint. And so far, I think we're pulling it off.
So does that put stress on you when you see The Wizard of Oz? Literally, we're staring at 3 Wizard of Oz machines across here with this, LCD back glass with movie posters and real movies going on in the game. And it is a different level of just, technicality. And you're here with sort of a classic retro pinball machine, albeit with lots of modern features and lots going on in a very deep rule set. But you've got to price these things competitively when you start seeing things like that you're up against, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. And, The Wizard of Oz is an amazing game. Stern does awesome stuff. We have no desire to compete with those guys. We're very happy being small-town America. But, like you said, production quality games, they need to look, feel, and play as good as everybody else's. And that is a trick. I think we found a pretty good way to, like you said, America's Most Haunted. I think that game shoots beautifully.
Yeah.
The jump ramps and the metal ramps and everything else that we've put into it over, the last year. So it's been a lot of refinement. So,
if somebody wants to buy right now an America's Most Haunted, pricing here we got up on the wall behind us, we're looking at $59.95 for a fully fleshed out game, which I would say is, forget limited edition versus pro versus any of that. This is the game with all the features the whole way.
Yes, Ben Heck is very proud to say that it ships with wizard mode. So
that's awesome. When would you? Let's say I bought a game from you today.
Yes.
When would I see an America's Most Haunted shipping to me, likely?
Right now, obviously, we're going through the growing pains that all small companies our size are going through. If you were to buy an America's Most Haunted today, I would say within 3 months you should have your game.
And talking to Ben, he's talking maybe 100 games is the most he might promise to be produced. What are your thoughts long term on the game? Is it something you can keep building as demand goes?
Yeah, honestly, it's a tough road to hoe there because a lot of people do want something that is special or limited in numbers. That tends to drive sales a little bit from my perspective. I don't want to limit the games. I want people to see them, play them, decide if they like them before they buy the game. I just like that business model. It's tough to do. And, Ben's game, we're committed to doing at least 100. If we have more demand at the end of the 100, if there's 20 people on the list saying, hey, I would like one, yeah, we're going to make more.
It actually surprises me, and I think I've said this in the show before. I think it's a fantastic theme. It's original. It's not pulling something off of a movie or a TV screen. The rules are there. I've played it. It goes deep. It shoots great. It has features. It has toys. And right now, you're only committed to 100, so it's really one of the most limited pinball machines in the industry right now. I'm shocked there's any spots available so far.
Well, and again, we use the word limited loosely. I would like to see 500 of these out there over the course of the next 3 to 4 years. That would be phenomenal.
Even at that, it's still very limited.
It is. That's a small run compared to like what Stern or Jack does, obviously. But like you said, it's an original theme game. People have been yelling for an original theme game for years. It is a bit of a trick to sell an original theme still, because there is a story behind it. Everything is there, but it doesn't have that instant recognition.
It's not. Star Trek. I love Star Trek.
It doesn't have that instant recognizable tangent to it. So you kind of have to take the time to play it. think to yourself, if somebody threw out a game today that was basically you got to put the clown to sleep and then punch him in the mouth, or the talking dummy, would Funhouse go over today? I don't know. It's a beautiful game. It's an awesome game. Everybody now loves it because they know it. I think over time, we hope our games fall into that same category.
Now, obviously, I guess in talking to you and talking to Ben and listening to the progress of the games, it seems like your main customer is the home player, the collector, the guy who's putting this in his home. Has there been any thought towards, can we get operators to buy these games and operate these games?
Yes, we have had operators approach us, and there's literally no difference between the home game and the operator's game. I mean, it's a fully functioning coin door. It's set to free play and/or credits, full diagnostic systems, just like you're used to. So, again, that's another part of us trying to make real, air quote, on the microphone, pinball machines that are, there's no reason on earth. We've been operating one now for 3 weeks just to see what kind of stress test we can give it and, get some feedback. And we're averaging at 25 cents a game at Lawrence's Pub in Benton on Main Street. We average about $45 a week in the game. So
that's really good. I think a lot of operators should hear that and take note.
Brian Kelly just walked up and handed me a beer. So,
it's actually for Ben.
Oh, it's for Ben. Oh, that makes sense.
I have not seen a Ben Heck sighting this morning yet.
Oh, he's been in and out of the booth all day. He's roaming around.
All
he's
right.
having a good time. He's very popular at the Midwest Gaming Classic. He's got a room here. Did you know that?
I did not know he had an
There's a
entire
room of fanboys called the Ben Heck Experience. They're very nice guys.
I'm not surprised. Let's talk about Pinball Zombies from Beyond the Grave. So, how long ago did you dream up that theme and that title?
Honestly, it almost kind of happened by accident. Greg Ferris had taken the eyeballs from our Spooky Pinball logo, and he had slapped them on like 5 different characters just to give a face to the eyes, because I never liked our eyeballs. One of them was a ghost. We slapped it on a shirt right away. People liked it. And then I thought, well, I'll make it like a retro movie poster. So we did Pinball Zombies from the Grave. And then Dennis saw it, and he's like, you got to add the word beyond in there. I don't know why. Pinball Zombies from Beyond the Grave. And then I started thinking, that would be a fun pinball machine.
But let me ask you, what is...
It's that dumb. It's
where
really,
is and what is it like to be beyond the grave?
Couldn't tell you yet. Another month like the last one might change that. Yeah.
So, okay, I saw it for the first time with everybody else yesterday. It's not what a lot of people expected, I think, just because it simply is a different laid out game.
Yes.
I don't see a fan layout.
No.
I don't see a Lawler-esque scoop shot with side flipper type of layout at all.
Right. While it does have 3 flippers and an upper play field, there are a million fan layout games out there. I don't believe I can design a better fan layout than George Gomez or Steve Ritchie. So, Ben's game is more of a fan layout, very, very deep rule set. I wanted my game to be fast, a little bit more random, and give the casual player a shot. Still shots you have to make, skill shots that you have to make. But I wanted the casual player to be able to keep up with an experienced player, and I think we pulled it off. It's very, very fast.
From the beginning, did you draw this game out on paper to start? I mean, or was it CAD? How was your design experience on this game?
Honestly, CAD has been one of the painful experiences that I've had to adjust and learn over the course of the last year. But I start my game exactly the way Ben Heck does, kind of basic layout in Illustrator, and then, yes, once I've got my kind of layout to where I want it, then we jump it into CAD and do all the technical crap that nobody really cares about, but you have to do.
At what point did you know you wanted to do something interesting with the pop bumpers? That's one of the things I see people keep commenting on in the last 24 hours is, oh, I love the pop bumpers. They're spread. They're not just in a typical cluster.
They are, but the reaction with the fourth slingshot into that nest of 3 pop bumpers is absolutely phenomenal. And that was something, honestly, I had laid it out. It worked pretty well. Dennis Nordman came in and he kind of helped me tweak it just a little bit to get the flow between that nest working, and I think it's got some ball reaction that is completely unique and different. Yeah, I kind of knew from the get-go what I wanted to do. I really wanted to kind of mix it up and take some traditional pinball parts and use them in a different way. I knew I wanted to have an upper cemetery playfield that kind of evolved over time, and again, Dennis had some help on that. it's me. It's just different.
And I know early on there was rumors, and maybe you had actually even said you were thinking about going alphanumeric with the game, and sort of really going throwback, because the game has a throwback feel. It has like a not early 80s, but like mid to late 80s kind of vibe to it.
Right. System 11 is exactly what I was going for.
Yeah, absolutely. What was the point where you said no, I have to do a DMD here?
The point where I said that was Ben Heck saying, "Hey, I want to do this really cool GI thing, and I need to eliminate that alphanumeric section of the board and use it for this." And we argued a little bit, and Ben won that one. I don't.
Are you happy now?
Yeah, I am actually. It's a lot more programming and work to create the dots and everything. So, but at the same time, it also keeps us like a standard cabinet. We don't have to change the speaker display and put alphanumeric on this one and DMD on this one. It keeps everything consistent, and I've learned how to make my own dots. So, thank you, Ben Heck.
And this is not, I heard somebody asking me earlier that when I was looking at the game and they said, so is this a P-Rock game? And I said, no, this is not P-Rock. This is your own hardware, correct?
Yes, Jerry does a wonderful job with P-Rock, but it's a different system than we use. We are using, basically it's a Ben Heck, Parker Dillman, Andrew Edgerton design. It's all self-contained, it's one board, and a good part of the reason I wanted it that way is, obviously I don't have vendors all over the country. We're a small company. We need to be able to service these things. If there's an issue with the board, this way the owner can pop the board out, you send me the board. There's only one. We know it's going to be on that board. We send you another one back right away, and that gets you up and running so you don't have to mess around with it.
Were there any design concepts or items that came up as you were building the game that you thought, wow, I just did this differently and it's better than maybe I've seen anything else before?
Oh, I never want to say I'm better than anybody else.
Oh, you're too modest.
No, I mean, come on. I mean, I love like Steve Ritchie games, and I love Dennis Nordman games. I think Dennis is one of the most creative guys, and John Papaduke sitting right next to us.
Yep.
And the Skidby guys. I mean, we all just kind of have our own different likes and dislikes and things we want to see. I love physical ball locks. I'm not a big virtual ball lock fan, so my game's got a physical ball lock. It's just, it's my personality that's sitting in the game.
Talk to me about the back glass and the back box in general. It's pretty amazing looking when you walk up to it. I've
been joking with everybody. The only reason I started a pinball company was so I could bring an infinity glass back to pinball, because I don't think, since Xenon and maybe Black Hole, Space Invaders, you just haven't seen it, and I've just always loved that kind of look. I just think it's cool, and I think we've managed to do it in a different way, and again, that falls back to the Ben Heck GI section that I lost on the alphanumeric. That's how we're able to do stuff like that.
There you go. So right now I see your pricing on Pinball Zombies from Beyond the Grave is actually a little bit less than America's Most Haunted. You save about $250.
Yeah.
Is that just because you priced it out, and when you parted out and looked at it, that was your margin on that game, and that's what you felt the price should be?
Well, and honestly, I mean, Ben's designed America's Most Haunted, and he's not doing that for free.
Yep.
We are a team. We work together, and he's very generous with his time and everything else.
So you're saying Ben can be purchased for $250?
No, he cannot.
Oh, okay, I was just checking.
It's a lot more complicated than that, but yes, obviously, with me taking on a lot of the programming or the dots and stuff like that in our game and doing the design myself and a lot of the mechanics, Ben doesn't get a cut of what I do.
Absolutely.
And he absolutely gets a cut of everything he does.
Yeah.
And deserves it. He is an amazing guy.
Yeah.
I don't think people realize what Ben Heck has accomplished. If you look at the credit card on the old game that we had, it's audio by Ben, script, rules, dots, programming, design, art, everything. The art, the music. Ben did all of that. I don't think anybody has ever done that, including me, and I can't do everything he does.
So let's say I throw my credit card down today. When might I expect to see a Pinball Zombies game showing up in my doorstep? How far out are we now?
I hate throwing dates on anything because they're never, ever, ever right. Not just for me, from everybody.
2014 delivery?
2014 delivery,
All
yes.
right, fair enough. That's very good.
I would like to, I'll give you a ballpark somewhere between July and August, depending on code. It's, there's some physical things that are still going in the game. There's a couple of animated pieces that are going in the game. They're already designed. We just didn't have time to get them in before we brought it here, and it's really down to code. There literally is 48 hours of code in this game, and I don't mean 48 hours. I mean 2 days we had to.
Yeah, 2 days ago you didn't have code in that game, correct?
Nothing.
That's amazing. It plays very well. it is very random. The slingshots on the side are so cool. Nobody's done that recently. It's very, very different and unique feeling.
Well, thank you. That's exactly what I was going for. But there are still shots you have to make.
You have to make.
So
I'm excited to see the fleshed out rules of that one very, very much.
It's going to be interesting, and it's going to be different.
I mean, I talked about this on the show we did last night, which you were a part of from the bar scene. But even your skill shot is very different because you have sort of the short plunge lane into the middle of the game to a slingshot to start the skill shot sequence.
Yeah, it was kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Inspired by the Terminator, you're shooting at the target. But I wanted it to go into the sling, so basically you're aiming for the first sling. The first sling will haul it into the second sling.
Which will double your skill shot.
Doubles your skill, and from there it can get into the pops. If you pull that off, you've just hit the uber rare triple skill shot and lit extra ball. I've seen it done twice this weekend.
It's my goal for the weekend. I have not pulled it off yet. I'm very bad at that. Well, Charlie, it has been a pleasure to have you on the podcast finally. It's been good to meet you finally. I'm really enjoying this. I'm loving playing your games, and I hope we can talk again soon.
Oh, absolutely, Nate. Anytime. Love Coast to Coast. You guys, you're doing a great job over there.
Thank you. It's very fun. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, there you have it. And with that, we're going to wrap up episode number 76 of Coast to Coast Pinball. I have a mailbox full of questions, comments, some great emails. And I've read all of the emails. I've replied to not very many of them. I will get there. When life gets back to normal soon, and I'm home for a few days, and Teresa won't strangle me for going and recording an episode and not, hanging out with her, I'm going to do an entire episode dedicated to your emails and your comments, because I do appreciate the amount of feedback I get, the amount of emails I get, and I know I can't get to all of them on the show. I will reply to all of them eventually, but I do just want to say thank you for being engaged and for caring about this hobby. Days like today are what it's all about. A lot of fun out here today. So from rainy, cold, lightning-filled Wisconsin, I hope you all have a great rest of your weekend, and we will likely talk to you again very soon. Take care.